Good morning, everybody. It's Forget Me Not Films, and today we are with Karen Cronin, and it is March 24th, 2019. And we are starting with a video today that's a little bit of different subject, and we are going to do a video discussing what it's like to have a miscarriage.
Yep.
And Karen, for everybody, just say everybody hello.
Hello, thanks for watching, guys.
And this miscarriage occurred, if I remember correctly, in 2012. So let's just start. I think the best place to start is, let's put a little bit of context. Where are you living at this time? I think.
So we were living in South Carolina and already had 2 children at the time, young kids. And we're hoping to have a big family with a lot of kids who were close in age. So we were excited to try for a third child at that time.
So it's 2012, South Carolina. You're a parent. You have 2 children. You're married, and take us back to the day that you find out you're pregnant in 2012 for the third time.
Okay, so I got up at 5:25 in the morning because my husband goes to work really early, and I wanted to find out with him, next to him. And so I took the pregnancy test, and we sat down next to each other and just were waiting, counting the seconds until it gave us a positive or a negative. And when it was positive, we both just lit up with joy and were so excited and terrified, because having a third kid is terrifying. Just like the first 2 was, they were both terrifying.
And did you experience just as much, I guess, emotions in that third time as you did the first and second time that you found out?
Definitely, yes.
It didn't.
Just so excited.
Yeah. And so, when did you decide to announce that you were pregnant to your family and friends?
So we waited about a week or 2
Okay.
after that. And we didn't put it on social media yet, but we did tell our close friends and our family. And our oldest son was the one who got to tell this time because he could talk. And it was really fun for him to try to get those words out and have people guessing what he was saying, and then their faces light up. It was fun to see their face light up from what he said, as opposed to those first 2 times they were lit up because of what my husband or I said. But to watch him experience their joy was pretty cool.
Pretty cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you go to your first ultrasound, and tell us about that experience.
So everything looked good, except that our ultrasound tech couldn't see the 4 chambers of our baby's heart. And she said, just come back in a couple weeks and we will try again to get that angle. And so things were looking pretty good at that time. And we were just getting more and more excited and envisioning our life with 3 kids.
And so in that ultrasound, you didn't get worried or anxious?
Not at that point, no.
Okay.
No. And then shortly after that, a friend of mine contacted me and said that she had just miscarried. And I started to be anxious about that. And I was fearful, and at that time not really trusting that God would carry me through an experience like that. More just, I'm afraid that's going to happen. What will I do if that happens? How can I survive that? And so I was doing research as usual, trying to find out how I could prevent that or how I would know that that's going to happen. And then I just prayed about it and said, I'm just going to let go of that anxiety. I need to not be fearful about that and trust that the Lord will be by my side and carry me through that if it happens.
Okay. So then you go to your second ultrasound.
Went to the second one, and
how
the night before,
you said that was like 4 weeks later?
It was about two weeks later.
Okay.
2 weeks later we went back, and I went alone that time. And the night before, I had that ultrasound in the morning, and the night before I remember feeling anxious and fearful again. And I had worked through that in just a couple of days, and felt like I shouldn't be back at that point again. I've already gone through that and worked through it with God, but I just had this bad gut feeling. And so I remember praying in bed, not being able to sleep. And then when we got to the ultrasound, our baby was just lying on the bottom of my womb, and it just was not like any other ultrasound that I had ever seen of my children. And I knew in that moment that our baby had also died. And the ultrasound tech then said, well, let me take a heart rate and check and see. And there was no heartbeat. And I just cried, and the ultrasound tech was also a Christian and just came over to where I was laying and hugged me, and we were both crying, and she prayed over me and told me that she had walked through this with other patients as well, and that she knew how hard it was, and she just took my sorrow with her as well and just experienced it. So that was really meaningful, because it wasn't a good friend of mine. It was the ultrasound tech who takes care of me and my baby.
Wow. So then you start your journey of, this is the first time you've experienced miscarriage. I mean, the first 2 times you find out you're pregnant, you find out you have 2 healthy babies, and this is the first time you're experiencing grief in this aspect. So carry us to what it felt like, I guess, that day and the next day, and then forward with your relationship with dealing with the miscarriage, as well as dealing with your relationship with God.
So that first day, I contacted a good friend of mine who I knew had miscarried. And she was just a light for me. She actually had taken time to print out for other women who miscarry a list of Bible verses and prayers. And so she gave me that, and I just opened the Word of God and prayed and said, I need your comfort. I know you want to comfort me. And I know that this trial, I don't know if it's a gift, if it's from the Lord, or if it's from the brokenness of the world, and that God would then redeem it. I didn't know the answer to that, and I never will know the answer, I don't think. And she called all of the women that I knew, and they all came to my home and just loved me and listened. I remember one lady brought me chocolate. One woman brought me her favorite scented lotion and said, a scent will help you remember. And
wow,
this,
do you remember what
as hard as it is, it was called Amber.
Oh wow.
From Bath and Body Works. And so she brought me that, and she said, I know this is sad, but it's sad because of your love for that child.
Wow.
And so I don't want you to forget your love. And so I used that until it was gone every day. Just remembering. And then one of my friends, another friend, said, you feel this sorrow for this child that you lost because of the love that you had for that child and this dream that you had to picture your life. Can you imagine how much God loves you? Can you even fathom, if God is love and you are his child, how much love he has for you? And that was so comforting to know and remember that through trials, there's no change in God's love, ever. It does not change. And those women left, and I continued to pray. My husband took time off of work and just mourned with me. We buried a box that had t-shirts in it that I had made.
Oh wow.
And they said outnumbered. So we were going to go to a family reunion, and I thought it would be fun to announce it in that way. And so it had 2 parents, were less than 3 children. And we weren't going to say anything. We were just going to wear those. And then we lost the baby. And I remember it being very therapeutic to bury something.
And did you name him or her?
I had a name picked out for her. And I don't know if our child was a boy or a girl at that time, but when I got pregnant, I had a picture of my life for the rest of my life. And it was 2 boys and a girl and a boy. That was my picture, and I just was pregnant with one child, but I really deeply wanted to have 4 kids. And as soon as we found out that our baby had died, that dream was just crushed and lost, and could not ever be, just could never be. Because if I got pregnant again, that next child would not be close in age like I had pictured. So the name I picked was Mara, and my husband and I hadn't talked about it, so I don't actually know where he stands on that name. But that wasn't important to me. It was just that I had a name for this child.
Right.
And I wrote her a letter as well about her eternity.
Wow.
And
where did
knowing
you
that
put the
she
letter?
was with Jesus.
Did you bury the letter with her?
I buried the letter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Karen, this story has been incredible to listen to, and I know we could go on forever about
Yep.
about your experience, but I think, to wrap this up, I just want to encourage anybody who's viewing this to know that everybody somebody has dealt with miscarriage, whether they've ever told you. I think one thing that Karen said earlier to me was there will be women that never tell their story in this side of eternity. There'll be women that will, and some women that, that will be able to share. But I just want to take a moment and say, Karen, I really appreciate you sharing this story with us. And I hope that the viewer can share this with anybody that they have seen go through this struggle or is going through this struggle. And also, I think it's good for women who are currently pregnant, not because it's scary, but because it's just a reality of life that
Right.
there is roughly 50% of miscarriages before women even know they're pregnant, and then 15 to 25% after they know they're pregnant. So it's just something good to know that you are not alone.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching, and again, this is Forget Me Not Films.